Welcome back, everybody. How are we doing today? How's everybody's week starting out? Can kind of I forget it's only Tuesday. It doesn't feel like Tuesday. It feels like it's like Thursday or something. But anyway, welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and you guys, I'm excited. You know why we're excited? Because the international break is almost up. I did watch a bit of the U.S. men's national team take on Jamaica last night. They did win that match. Redemption arc for Timothy Weah after being sent off in the last one. So it's probably the first U.S. men's national team match that I've watched since Timothy Weah was sent off. So it is what it is. But one more round of games today. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. Danny B is looking forward to this one. Welcome back, bud. Yeah, I wish I could watch more of the Academy, right? Because, I want to watch the Academy. And occasionally I can find some of the matches on YouTube. The MUTV app doesn't really show many of them. So it's really, really, really annoying. I think that they've missed a trick there on that one personally. But we can catch a lot of highlights. We can catch a lot of footage here and there. We saw a bit of it yesterday. We talked a little bit about some news that United are going to be having potentially a stricter budget going into the transfer window, going into the summer, and basically just moving forward because of our horrible track record of just these inept squad rebuilds based on manager, not based on club identity or culture or ethos or any sort of a plan. We had horrible people making those decisions, horrible people in charge of the negotiations, all that thing. And so it's left us in a bit of a shitty situation. And because of that, like we talked about yesterday from James Ducker in the Telegraph, that we are going to be cutting down on those costs already. It remains to be seen what this means for Ruben Amorim and our transfers, but we were already skint going into the summer window. We were skint last January as well. I mean, we're skint, basically. We got to navigate PSR. We had to sell McTominay just to raise money. I mean, we did raise like $100 million this summer, but it was mostly academy products and youngsters. And so I think what this means is we probably shouldn't hold our breath when it comes to big January signings, loans, free agents, buybacks, et cetera, et cetera. These are the aisles that we're going to be shopping in right now. And we could also be shopping in the academy aisle. So at Sporting, Ruben Amorim was well-versed in operating under a limited budget, and he was well-versed in getting the most from the players at his disposal. Sporting tend to sell big, buy, scout well, like a lot of smaller clubs. Smaller is relative in this sense, but you know what I mean. Not only that, but Amorim was also well-versed in utilizing the academy, utilizing young players. As Sporting's manager, Amorim handed first-team debuts to like 24 youngsters coming through the academy, some of whom you're going to recognize. So like PSG's Nuno Mendes, Gonçalo Inácio still at Sporting, Eduardo Quaresma still at Sporting, Jenny Gatamo, one of the wingbacks there, Sporting. Leicester City's Fatawu came through Sporting's academy. Obviously, Giovanni Quenda, everybody's, talking about him right now, 17-year-old. And then Southampton's Mateus Fernandes, who I really like the look of as well. These guys all came through Sporting Academy. They were all given their debuts. Obviously, there's many, many more, but those are some of the ones that I think you guys will probably recognize. So Amorim has a track record of identifying youngsters to bring into the first team, trusting them in crucial matches, developing them into excellent players, and also achieving success with those youngsters. Sound familiar? Yeah. United fans will know all about that, right? We speak youth players at this club. So with more than a decade, again, of piss-poor decision-making, leaving United skint, navigating PSR restrictions, you'd be forgiven for being a little worried about the state of our squad, the state of our finances, and all that stuff. You're like, wait a second, new manager, probably going to need some players. We actually have a half-decent squad if they would all actually fucking get their head out of their ass and do something. But I think that instead of going out and always buying players to solve a problem, Man City, I think taking a look at the academy could not only save us a bit of money and free up funds for priority positions. I think that's going to be a big help. Plus, I think with the academy looking the best it's been in years, quite frankly, honestly, this is one of the best academies I've seen in a while. there's a very real opportunity that we could uncover future stars, or even two future stars, from the wellspring that is Carrington right now. Ten Hag brought in Garnacho into the first team picture. Kabi Menu was brought in under Ten Hag as well. Kabi Menu was a big part of Ten Hag's plans. Midfielders Jack Fletcher, Toby Collier have been featured in the first team squad as well. Collier actually getting some first team minutes. Even Wheatley was making his debut last season and playing a little bit as well. So we are continuing that trend. Carrington is home right now to some very special players. And I think a few of these guys could see minutes under Amorim this season, especially, again, considering Ineos really seem to be focused on targeting, recruiting some of the best young players around and really building for the future. They're selling these players on the vision and the pathway into the first team. I mean, we were able to get guys like Obi Martin, Lusali, all these guys from other clubs, Overy from the Australian League, to come in because we sold them on that. And I think that a lot of those players have said as much as they've been discussing that. I want to hear your thoughts, though, on which of these players we're going to talk about today you're most excited for, which ones you think could get minutes this season, and who might not be quite ready yet. I'm not going through the entire academy. I'm pretty much going through some of the very prominent players who are on that cusp of like looking like they're almost too good for the academy, but maybe not quite ready for, first team minutes, like immediately if you had to do it today, but players who are pretty much going to be there soon. But I want to know your thoughts on what that looks like. So get your thoughts in. We are going to chat about a few of them. Danny says, I think there could be 4 or 5 could make it to the top level. We are going to chat about that today, man. That's why we're here. So without further ado, hit that like button if you want to talk more, if you want to help the channel grow. Subscribe if you want to help the channel grow. We are on the road to 2K subscribers. You guys are absolute legends. I gave you guys a big thank you on the weekend when we did our squad show with Joel and Dylan. Get a big giveaway. Get involved in the giveaways. That's how I want to show my appreciation to you guys. We are coming up to 2K soon. So with your help, we can do it. So without further ado, let's get started with the first academy player on the list, and that is Godwill Kokonki. Oops, sorry guys. Jumped ahead too quickly there. Sorry. So Godwill Kokonki. And so I've said a couple times now, and I'm gonna backtrack on this, then hold my hands up because again, haven't watched a ton of the academy. But I said, Camboala is gone, Will Fish was gone. Where are the next defenders coming through the academy? I see a lot of midfielders, some attackers. I want to see some defenders. We do have a couple of defenders, and Godwill Kokonki is one of them. The kid is an absolute fucking unit of a center back. He's well over 6 foot. He's nearly like 6.5 feet or so. And he's still just 16. The kid is massive. From what I've seen and read and heard about Kokonki, not only is he just a physical presence, but he's actually very, very good on the ball as well in terms of passing, in terms of dribbling, good driving the ball out from defense, bringing it into midfield. And I think that a back three is an ideal environment for a young defender to really kind of get some of that exposure, since there's a lot of security in having 2 players with you instead of just one. You kind of share the load a little bit. He was included in Amorim's first training session with the first team. This was at yesterday. So that's the first time he's been involved in the first team session. So I think part of that probably had to do with making up numbers because we still had quite a few players out at international duty. But it's still a big deal for the young player and for being 16 years old. We've seen some promising center backs come through the academy in recent years. Some of them have not quite worked out. Some of them have moved on. I mean, most of them are not here anymore. Guys like Michael Keane, Tyler Blackett. Remember Tyler Blackett? Ted Mengi. We all forgot about Ted Mengi. Deshaun Bernard actually played last night for Jamaica. Axel Twanzebe, I think, is the one that broke a lot of people's hearts. I think the injuries just kind of got to him. He's over at Ipswich right now. And then most recently, again, Willie Camboala and Will Fish have both been moved on. Danny says he's watched him 2 or 3 times and he played left back. Yeah. The dude is a freaking monster. But looks like he could be really ideal. If he's playing left back as well, he can maybe even come in and rotate in that left center back role, maybe get some minutes there later on. We never know with Licha. We never know with Luke Shaw how frequently, some of these injuries are going to pick up. But Godwill Kokonki, A lot of people are talking about him. He's getting a lot of buzz right now. You guys let me know what you think of God will, because we are going to move on to the next player on my list, and that is Cheeto Obi Martin. So the name on everyone's lips right now, right? Scoring a hat trick on your debut for the under 18s will do that, though. Excellent finisher, good hold up play, very good link up play. The kid is dangerous in front of goal. He's just like one of those natural kind of finishers, but he can also create for himself as well. He's one of those academy players, again, who's in that spot where, again, he's almost too good for the level, but not quite ready for first team minutes. There's still a lot of rawness there, but he's still just 16, so he's got plenty of time to develop. If I had to guess, I'd say probably another year, maybe even 2 in the academy, maybe another loan before we see him in the first team. He'll still only be like 18, 19 by then. Like, he's still very, very young, but the kid is looking very, very good, very, very sharp. I think that Arsenal fans are probably fuming a little bit. I mean, they just love giving us some good strikers, right? But you guys let me know what you think about Cheeto Obi Martin. The kid, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about this kid. It's a toss-up right now between Cheeto Obi Martin and another one of these young players in the academy that I'm most excited for, as we'll talk about in a little bit. But you guys let me know what you think about Cheeto. We're going to move on to my next player, and that is Jack Fletcher. Still just 17. Jack Fletcher, obviously one of the twin sons of Darren Fletcher. The young midfielder, he signed his first professional contract in the spring with United. And he's already featured in the first team match day squad. In fact, last year he was traveling with the first team for like Champions League matches and getting involved in training and stuff. And if you've ever watched these highlights or caught some of these academy matches, Fletcher is very, very, very good. He can play as a 10, he can play as an 8, but I think you're going to get the best out of him higher up the pitch, where he can really utilize his chance creation, his reading of the game to create opportunities for his teammates. The kid already has 4 goals, 3 assists in just 7 matches for the academy, and looks an absolute baller. Danny says, I think we see him preseason or even this season if you have an injury crisis. I feel the reason we landed Obi because we told him he's third choice. And that's interesting, too, because we had Wheatley coming into the first team picture last year. I think right now, though, I think Obi Martin does look a little better than Wheatley. And that's not to say Wheatley's garbage. And players just develop at different rates. I mean, Jamie Vardy was a bit of a late bloomer. It is what it is. Even Gyökeres was a bit of a late bloomer. It's going to happen sometimes, and everybody's got different profiles. And quite frankly, not everybody's going to be world class. I'm not saying Obi Martin will, Ethan Wheatley won't. I'm just saying the differences in players doesn't mean you're bad. Just because you're not Erling Haaland doesn't mean you're a shit striker, right? You know what I'm saying? So Jack Fletcher, I like the look of him. He could be one that's probably getting a little closer to first team minutes, just simply because he's already involved in first team picture. He's been involved in the match day squad. He's in training. Like, the kid is very good. Helps when your dad is working at the club too. Not saying he's a Nepo player. I'm just saying it does help. But what do you guys think of Jack Fletcher? Are you guys excited? Do you think he could get involved at some point? You guys let me know. Moving on. Gabriele Biancheri. I don't know what else I could say about Biancheri. The kid is an absolute dynamite attacker. Like, can't even, like, it took him, remember when we signed him, he was 15, 16, and we kind of didn't hear about him for a little bit after that, but just this season, he's been on fire. He's 18 now, the little Welsh attacker, and he's really developed into a lethal player in the academy. He's just a natural goal scorer, and it's an added bonus, too, that he's a modern striker in that he presses. He uses his energy, his precociousness, that youth, that hunger, that mentality to press high up the pitch, which is what Ten Hag likes, which is what Amorim likes. We're pressing. We're winning that ball back high up the pitch. He's doing an absolute business this season. 6 goals in just 4 matches for the U18s. The guy is on fire. And like Danny says, yeah, the kid is fucking fire. I'm very, very excited for him to come through. He's 18. We've got a lot. This is why I say we have a lot of young, really young, like bright attackers in the academy. And I think that our attack's going to be set for a while. This is maybe why we didn't like go out and buy like a super old striker. I still think maybe we need an older striker. Maybe we didn't need Xerxes. I'm not calling him a flop. I'm not writing off Xerxes yet. And there's a chance maybe we just didn't need him right this second. Could be the dark horse right there. Yeah, Biancheri, I don't have words that are big enough to describe what I think this kid's going to be capable of in the future, quite frankly. Again, it's all about coaching, and it's all about, the player's decision-making mentality, looking out for himself, surrounding himself with the right people. We've seen a lot of young players kind of make poor decisions, don't have good people speaking into their mind, but this kid's been here. He seems like he's patient. He's doing what he needs to do. He's getting his head down. He's doing the work. And this season, he's just really stepped it up a level. Like he reached level 16. He evolved to a Charmeleon, and he learned Flamethrower, and he's doing his thing. Like I'm all for it too. So you guys let me know. Danny B, just like me, is on the same page. We're going to move on to the other player in my 50-50 that I'm very, 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 very excited for, and that's Sekou Kone. Obviously, we signed him from I forget I should have written it down. I completely forgot what the club was. That he was playing first team football for a club in Mali. So he's a Malian international, but what an absolute baller this kid is. Probably, again, like I said, up there with Obi Martin as the player I'm most eager to see get some first team minutes. Mostly because, like I spoke about the other day with Sver Nipan at Rosenborg, he's young, but he's played first team football. Yes, it was in Mali. Like, you say what you want, but at the same time, it's first team football. And so I'm really excited for that. He's 18. He's spending a bit of time in the academy, obviously, to get acclimated to the game, acclimated to the system. We know the academy is now switching over to a 3-4-3, like we're doing with the first team. He looks likely, probably, barring, the injury that he picked up last week. He was forced off. I think he was pictured in a boot. But so was Anthony, and Anthony was back in a week. So I don't know the extent of the injury yet. If anybody does, let me know. But I think he could very easily make the jump to the first team squad before the end of the season. He could save us a bit of money in the summer as well when it comes time to maybe revamp that midfield with Eriksen looking likely. I read earlier today that Real Betis might be interested in Christian Eriksen. Casemiro is getting a little older. We are going to need a bit of a physical presence to come in and rotate, because right now, as far as the physical presence, the legs, the bite, and the fight in midfield, Ugarte is kind of carrying that load himself. So Kone does that. Kone loves to win that ball back. He loves to move the ball. He's got a really good passing range. He's really good at carrying the ball as well. Danny says, future rotation player in that 6 to 8 role. I think he's one of the ones. Hopefully, if that injury is not too bad, I think we could see him kind of expedited to the front of the line when it comes to first team minutes. Excellent progressive passer, takes those passes no one sees. And I think that's what you like. Again, if you had, it was almost like a young Pogba. Remember when Pogba was young? Obviously, he's got a bit more speed, a bit more fight than Pogba when it comes to winning that ball back. But when he gets it, he can just do a little bit more with it, which I like. It's an added bonus. Like, I love players like Ugarte who can win the ball back. And to be fair, Ugarte's got a good passing range, but it does say a lot more when you have that fight, but then you can also pick that pass that no one else can do, where it's not just maybe a get it and give it to someone else real quick. So I like the look of Kone. Obviously, we signed him in the summer. A lot of excitement coming through. But you guys let me know, do you think that Kone could be ready for first team before the end of the season? Hopefully his injury is not too serious. But we're going to move on to another player that Danny has been talking about. Danny raves about this guy. Quite frankly, so do a lot of people. This is Bendito Montato. So much like Giovanni Quenda at Sporting, Montato represents that profile of the young, energetic winger who can carry the ball, maintain that width on the pitch, offer something in both halves. He can pitch in, he can put in a defensive shift off the ball, but he's very good at moving the ball high up the pitch. And just like Giovanni Quenda, this makes him perfect for that kind of wingback, wide winger role in a Ruben Amorim system. Good left foot. He can play both on the left and on the right. Coming through a lot of highly rated. Danny says this kid will make it. Yeah. We've seen some players, some wingers that have come through, and I'm not calling them bad. It's just, again, it's a big step up. Guys like Tahith Chong, guys like Omari Forson, like even Anthony Elanga, Yanazai, if you want to get a little more pedantic with it, like you can kind of tell who's going to be a Manchester United player, maybe who isn't going to be a Manchester United player. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on Montato early, but the way this kid is spoken about, the way this kid's played, the quality that he shows already at such a young age, like I don't think it's going to be too long before we see Montato in and around the first team picture a little more frequently. And like Danny says, the kid's going to make it. I think he has all the tools. He has all the quality. Again, when it comes to young players, the biggest test is mentality moving forward, because your physicality, your quality, your talent, your natural ability will only take you so far. We've seen time and time again the young players who have all the talent in the world. They have the world at their feet, no pun intended. And sometimes it's just one bad decision, one bad night out, one bad person, bad influence around them, and it makes all the difference. You're young, you're impressionable. There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot going on. Hopefully, none of these players, succumb to that kind of stuff, but they have all the talent. It's just about what you do with it. Still only 16 showing. Yeah, I think Montato is super senior. I forgot to write down his age on here. I was putting together these notes while I was doing so many other things yesterday, so it was like some of these notes are kind of all over the place. But Montato. Bendito Montato. He is 16. He will be 17 in January. So a couple more months and he will rock up to 17. Very, very good. I really like the look of this young kid. Moving on. Shea Lacey. Remember, guys? You guys remember Shea Lacey? Where he was all the talk last few seasons. Picked up injury. Picked up a couple more injuries. Injuries have been kind of hampering him a little bit, which is a bit of a worry. But if he could stay fit, this kid was seen as like the next big thing in the academy. Lacey offers excellent ball control, the ability to create space for himself, especially in those tight, wide areas. He had 2 goals and 4 assists last season with the U18s in 10 matches. His chance creation, his creativity overall make me think he could also play maybe in one of those roles behind the striker, similar to like an Ahmad, or if you want a sporting equivalent like a Trincao, who plays up in that role behind the striker as well. He's already trained with the first team squad in the past, so clearly he's highly regarded. He's 17, winger. He was a very hot prospect, like I said, not too long ago. But again, he got a little bit of an injury last spring. Put him out of action, I think that was April, and it put him out of action pretty much the rest of the season. He's been struggling with a few knocks since, a few muscle issues since. He is back, though, and the Scouse Messi, as he's called, could play his way into the first team picture before the end of the season. Justin, welcome, my guy. How are you? We going to do an academy game while we're there? I mean, we can if we want to on that Friday, man. We could definitely rock over to Lee and take out. I mean, we don't have to do the hospitality. We could just roll up if we got a few hours, but it's up to you, man. It's always an option. But good to see you this morning. I think Shea gone back to the list injuries too much. Probably won't see him for a while. Yeah, and that's the thing with Shea Lacey. I put him on here because he was so highly regarded, and I'm worried that the injuries are starting to creep in a little bit. But we will see. Rever, welcome, bud. How are you this morning? Lacey reminds me of Foden and Bernardo Silva. Small, more technically gifted. Yeah, I think he's very good. Again, like you said, he's been called the Scouse Messi. So we'll see. And yeah, just like you're saying, Rever, he's got to stay fit. The injuries, it could be going down the Ethan Laird route, the actual Twanzebe. You guys remember Ethan Laird? I was super excited for Ethan Laird, and then it's just injuries and injuries and injuries, and they just caught up to him. And unfortunately, it is what it is. Danny B showing the love to everybody, but I just wanted to throw Shea Lacey in there because I think a lot of us forgot about him because of those injuries, and I hope that keep him in the back of your mind a little bit. Let that marinate, because if he can shake off the injuries, if he can finally get over that, I think that he could be a really, really good player for us. Because, like I said, he could play wide, he could play in one of those roles behind the striker. Very creative, very good in tight areas, very good on the ball. Big up, everybody's showing the love. That's why I love this community. You guys are awesome. Moving on to a name. I mean, it's probably not like too big of a surprise, but we got to throw him in here right now simply because he's not really had any first team minutes. So technically we're going to call him an academy player still, but Harry Amos. I don't need to go into too much detail because we've all been crying out for Amos to get minutes basically since preseason when he was playing a little bit more. Energetic, quick, able to carry the ball, very good in possession, especially in tight areas, kind of like Lacey. Amos seems to be everything you want in a fullback, right? And maybe even everything that Ruben Amorim might want in the wingback role. 17-year-old left back featured heavily this summer, like I said, but he's not really been involved in the first team since. He's even seen Toby Collier chosen ahead of him at left back. I think that was against Barnsley. So that is a bit telling and maybe a bit concerning, but I'm not going to read too much into it. I've seen a lot of people say, he's got to develop physically. He's still not quite had that growth spurt, need to bulk up. He's still kind of going through that, and that may be. Fullbacks generally are not too big, but maybe he's still just, got the boy's body and he's waiting to develop. And that in itself is going to need a bit of a transition. That's one of the things they teach you when you're looking at like youth scouting is, have these players had their growth spurt? Have they developed that? Because their game could change significantly when they're like a 5'4" player and they hit 16, 17, and then they jump up to like 5'10", 5'9", and they put on about 30 pounds to see how they adjust. But I think that he can also be caught out sometimes while defending because of that. But I think that in Ruben Amorim's system, those wide roles, that could be ideal because you're going to have more cushion behind you. You've got the two midfielders back. You've got three center backs behind you. And that left-sided center back is going to oftentimes push up a little bit and defend a little bit more in those wide areas. So the wingers, this is why Amorim will typically use wingers, or he'll have like one fullback and like one winger on the other side. And you'll kind of see the game shift a little bit in that regard. But I think that can offer an ideal role, sort of like the back three for someone like Kukanki, because you're having a little extra security. You're not having to always be so up and down, so switched on, so attack, defense, total football in that regard. So could see how it goes. Danny B says, I wonder if Villa really trying to sign him. I heard that somewhere a few days ago. It'd be interesting. I think that I saw that rumor we talked about the other day. I did see too that in that same report that Amos wanted to see what his first team options were in terms of staying at United. Was he going to get any sort of assurances? What's that pathway look like? It could be one of those things where kind of like Kambwala, where everyone's excited, but then maybe the player or Angel Gomez, the player just wants to play. And if there's an opportunity to go play, he could do that. I think that if I were a young left back at United and I look at guys like Malacia and Luke Shaw, I'm thinking to myself, it's only going to be a matter of time before someone's calling me up to the first team, because these two, Malacia still got some ways to go. I know he's playing with the under-21s, I think today or tomorrow, for whenever the next match is for that. Shaw is, you wait 5 minutes and he's going to be, it's like the weather in Michigan, if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes. Shaw's going to be injured soon. It just is what it is. But if he wants to play, if there's another team, especially an English team, who's going to promise him, you never know what could happen with him. But I did see that, Danny. You're right. Aston Villa want him for a reason. He has potential to be a Premier League player. Must continue to develop, though. Yeah, and he's still so young. He's only 17. Obviously, we've seen a lot of young fullbacks coming through. I mean, Alphonso Davies was super, super young when Bayern snatched him from the MLS. Kirke is super, super young. I mean, you see it all the time. It's just a matter that not every player who's 17, 18 is the same. So it just is what it is. But big up, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that Villa have Maatsen, too. More chance of playing for us. Villa have Digne and Maatsen. Yeah, I think that he'll definitely have an earlier chance to play for us, given the injury record of our left backs, than he will at a club, like you're saying, like Aston Villa. But Digne was there before. Wasn't Digne there before Emery got there? So maybe it's just a matter of Emery wanting somebody different. But Emery did sign Maatsen. So it's going to be interesting, though, to see what happens with Amos. I think that, again, he's been involved in the first team squad. He's been a part of the match day squad. Just hasn't quite worked out. So there's a reason for that. But what that reason is, we may not know. Rever says, not every 17-year-old is Giggs or Yamal. Yeah. Exactly. And not every academy player that comes to United is going to be the next Giggs, right? The next Beckham, the next Scholes. I love our youth team record. I love the record of having an academy product in the matchday squad. I'm so proud. Could not be more proud. I mean, if you look behind the badge on one of these shirts, it's going to say youth, courage, success. I love that our academy is looking the best it's been, but what I don't like is the idea of forcing it sometimes. Not every academy player is going to be good. They all should get a chance, but some of them you can tell that they're just not going to be it. And That's okay. Just because you're not good enough for Manchester United doesn't mean you're not good. A lot of these academy players are going off and doing very well. Anthony Elanga is doing very well at Nottingham Forest. Tahith Chong, um, Ted and Mengi, Twanzabe's at Ipswich right now. Like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. That's you're in a very, very small percentage of players who even play in the Premier League. What is it, like 0.001% or something? Like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So, listen, I could go on and on and on about the academy. Like I said, Carrington is stacked right now, possibly the best I've seen it in decades. And I haven't even mentioned guys guys like James Overy, Sammy Luseli, Jace Fitzgerald, Ibrahimov. I really like Ibrahimov. Like, I haven't even gone into detail on a lot of these guys. I could spend all day going through the academy. Oganai, another one. But I'll leave that up to you guys, because this is a time where I want to ask you what you think. Who do you think is ready for first team minutes? Who do you think could really cook under Amorim? Are there any players I didn't mention that you think deserve a special shout out? You guys let me know. I'll leave the chat open for a hot second while I just look at a couple of these other things. Every player develops at a different rate. Yeah, they do. And again, Trevor, it's also about system, about manager, who else is in the squad. Sometimes it's just a timing thing. If you're a young striker, and you're coming through academy with a team that's got 3 top strikers competing for a space, odds are you're not going to get a whole lot of minutes right away. Who we got here? Thwaites, fire but not ready, still only 16. We got a lot of youngsters. They're all getting there. But yeah, I did throw Thwaites in my notes as well. I just didn't go into too much detail on Thwaites. Gyökeres is 27. When he was 21, he was struggling to get into Brighton's under 21 team. Yeah, and again, sometimes it is a change of pace. Maybe dropping from Brighton down to Coventry. He did have 2 really good seasons at Coventry. He and Chuba Akpom in the 23-24 season, no, 22-23 season, were doing the dirty in the championship. They were just on a slugfest for top scorer. And you guys know I go on and on about Gyökeres. I love Gyökeres. McAllister, yeah, that was another one. McAllister. There's a ton of them out there. I didn't talk about Armour, one of the other center backs. Ennis, one of the wingers that joined us on our preseason tour as well. Like, players everywhere. And again, I could literally spend all day talking about the academy right now, because there's so many good players in the academy. But like I said, today was more about taking a look at some of the bigger names, some of the names that everyone is really chatting about, some of the names that are drawing a lot of the statistics, a lot of the goals, a lot of the chat, a lot of the headlines, a lot of the buzz, because those are the players who are probably a little closer. But you guys let me know. Ennis is having a good season. Yeah, Ennis had a really good game a couple weeks ago, didn't he? He had a couple goals. Academy's looking great. And I think that's the whole foundation, the whole point of this video is the fact the academy is balling out right now. Just really excited for that. You guys let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We got a game coming up Sunday. Amorim had his first training session yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched the footage from that. Seems like Mount, Malacia, Shaw are all heavily involved. I know he had Shaw kind of playing that left center back role. Malacia looking pretty crisp, pretty tight up there. Mount grabbing some goals. I like the look of the way he wants his teams to defend. At least that's what it looked like in training. He had all these drills where we're moving the ball, and then if someone loses it, he blows the whistle, and then everybody switches to defend. Everybody basically just pretends you lost the ball and you're facing a counterattack, and everybody had to get back. And you could already see some of the players kind of like, ugh, this is a struggle. Not that they're complaining, just that the fitness quite isn't there. And we've seen that as an issue for a while. Ollie criticized the fitness, Jose, Ten Hag, like a lot of our players just aren't fit. So we're going to see, again, who can hang, who can't. We did that video on Saturday, kind of who might fit, who might not fit, and why. You guys go check that out if you haven't yet. Had a lot of fun doing that. We did do that giveaway on Saturday. So again, big up RSV. I popped that in the mail yesterday. Your shirt RSV should be there. What's today? Tuesday. They said it should be there tomorrow because you don't live, I think, not that far away actually, which is very convenient. So keep an eye out for that one. And if you guys have any more players, if you're not able to catch the live, don't worry about it. Leave a thought in the chat. Ruben's Reds, let's go. I like the attitude, Rever. Big up, man. Yeah, I'm excited. And Ruben was getting involved in the training. He was squaring up with Johnny Evans, kind of holding him. He was getting involved with some of the passing, some of the running. Like, he's getting involved. I mean, he's not that old. It wasn't too long ago that he stopped playing. Like, he still has it. So it's good to see. I'm excited. Ipswich could be an interesting match. Trying to temper expectations. Obviously, we talk about new manager bounce, but at the same time, let's just not put too much pressure on him. But I think that we'll talk again about, maybe we'll do a revised season expectations after like another month or so, after Amorim's been in charge. Maybe by the time January rolls around, we'll have a better idea, and then maybe we'll do another show where we kind of look at expectations after that. But you guys let me know if that's something you'd like to be a part of. And that is going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for stopping by. Danny, Justin, Rever. Always appreciate everyone getting involved. I know Danny is a big Academy guy. Happy to have your input as always, my friend. Rever says, this time next year I'll have gray hair. I hope not. That was one of the things that make me so sad, is to see Ollie just kind of age. In the span of like a season, Ollie had already just looked like he'd aged like 10 years. And it was, United will do that to you. Hopefully it's different. There's a lot of new chains going on, new structure, new scouting team, new everything, new owners and all that stuff. So I think that Amorim is in the best environment that we've had in a while to succeed. But now it's up to him and the players. We'll see what happens. Starting gray hair since Erik ten Hag. Yeah, Erik ten Hag just fell out. He couldn't even tell. But he's still chilling in Manchester. I saw a photo of him this morning. Just leaving a restaurant in Manchester. I know a guy goes to a restaurant, big news. But I thought he'd be just back in the Netherlands by now. I didn't think he'd still be hanging around. Maybe that means he's looking at some jobs. You never know. But again, that's going to do it for me, you guys. Thank you for stopping by. Again, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 2K subscribers. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you weren't able to catch the live, I will respond. But let me know, who did I miss? Who that we talked about today is ready? If you had to rank, who's ready first? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. But quick little fun video today. Thank you again, everybody, for stopping by. I will see you guys on the next one, and talk to you later. Bye.